Hello, and welcome to Ditch Witch Diaries. We are now in the moon. So, we're going to talk about plants of the moon, and we're going to talk about what it means to be a lunar plant. And so, we'll just start off with Raven and take it away.
All right. All right. So starting with the moon, maybe here we go. Here's our beautiful Luna.
Ooh.
Okay, so the moon represents just kind of the planet astrological representation is of the personal self, your unconscious. If you believe that there's an unconscious, or your pre-conscious feelings, emotions, it's kind of like your inner workings.
Do you believe that
It,
there's an unconscious, Raven? Do you?
I, I, I do not.
Yes,
No.
I thought so.
Yeah, I believe that we have a pre-conscious, so stuff that's like just kind of buried just underneath the surface that we can get to if we just kind of think about it, right? Like if I ask you what you had for dinner, like I don't know, Sunday last week or something, where you can like think about it for a second, but you can get to it, you can access it. I don't think anything is off limits to our conscious mind, and in my opinion, that's kind of what the unconscious is, right? It's like the stuff that you don't even know is there. So yeah. Do you?
Um, I kind of do. Like I just like I'm kind of into that Jungian idea of the collective unconscious. I like to think that like there are things that like run through our like cultural landscape and connect us as people, and that there's themes that kind of run through that touch on us as humanity. Maybe it's even not unconscious. Maybe it's even something like what I like to think of is that like it's things from our animal past that we don't experience in humanity. So we have like animals have all these instincts that will tell them like where to go and how to be and what to do, and they don't even have to think about it. It's just in them instinctually. And that we have that inside us, but we don't know we do. There's things that we know inside us, but we don't know why we know them. And it could be genetically made up, like tied to our like the actual humans in our past. Like so our it could be that, but I do think that there are things that kind of run through like either our genetic line or people in general that are unconscious, that are, and I maybe they're like more animal kind of way, not animalistic, but the way that animals have instincts, that we have like these kind of unconscious things that like make us tick and make us like feel awe and make us like, you know.
Hmm. I agree that I believe in the like because Jung talks about like the personal unconscious and the collective unconscious. And I agree with the collective, the idea kind of the collective unconscious, what is like sounds like what you're describing, like instincts and drives and stuff. But I don't, in my view, it's not in the unconscious because we can feel them, right? Like if I come to a fork in the road and I just feel like I should go left, like I don't really know why, but I feel I should go left, and so I'm going with that feeling because I can feel that feeling. To me, that is not in the unconscious. But I think that you're taking it like a step further back of like because we don't understand that feeling, that's what's in the unconscious, it sounds
Yeah,
like. So I
exactly. Like
think we're
that
like a
there,
little
yeah, it's like a,
same idea but
it is.
slightly different. Yeah, but
There's
I
things
agree
that,
with you with
yeah.
all that stuff. I just don't
Okay.
call it the unconscious, but yeah,
Yes.
I like that idea.
Okay.
Yeah, cool. Okay. Oh, yes. Also, so the moon also represents habits. I've seen especially like deeply ingrained habits, things that we've been doing for a very long time that we kind of feel like have migrated to be part of who we are, whether they're good habits or bad habits. Also, nurturing and very feminine, which is often like contrasted with the sun, which a lot of people talk about in its masculinity. and we have said multiple times that we try to leave like men out of our magical discussions, at least to an extent, which I love. But I do, and I think that we would both agree that I do agree that there's like masculine and feminine energy. I think that when we're saying like we don't want to bring men into this, we're not negating the masculinity of us. And so I don't like it when people talk about like the sun as a god and the moon as a goddess necessarily, because I like to think that women rule the world. And so I see it as more like the feminine aspects of the woman and the masculine aspects of the women. So I do like the moon for that feminine
even
thing.
like more like I've been kind of parsing this out on the tarot series too, like that it's more like a yin yang type of thing, like about like outward versus inward, or like it's not even, it could, you could describe it as feminine, but it's kind of like the idea of like it's a different, it's a conceptual thing, not a like gender thing, like more like
Yeah, I like that too. I also kind of see it, I mean, we can talk about the traits that are associated with that too, but yeah, very like the masculine things that I see that are masculine are very like in your face, very like almost aggressive, not necessarily in a bad way, but just like go get it kind of thing. And I can definitely see the sun for that. And then the feminine and the moon as more kind of like intuitive and like collected and feeling and like tides, and you know, which I think also kind of align with the idea of the yin and the yang from what I understand.
yeah.
Very nice. Okay. What else? Oh, there's also some places that I've seen talk about the moon in relation to your past. And so because it's associated with your past, it's also tied to like your instincts. And again, like the habits and you kind of forming that habit. So I don't know if I have ever thought about seeing the moon as the past, like associated with the past, but I can see it definitely for like that instinctual kind of like feeling aspect. And then also, who can forget fertility, which includes pregnancy and childbirth, like we've talked about before, but not for me. So fertility very much is like about creation, right? Manifesting, if you want, if you like that creation and like creating something. Yeah, like very like abundance and yeah. So yeah. I love the moon for that as well, which is also why I don't really understand, you know, no judgment, but I don't really understand when people use like the full moon as like they use it as usually the waning moon, because like that's when it starts to wane, I guess. But I like doing, so they'll do, a lot of people will do workings of like getting rid of stuff on the full moon, and I don't resonate with that at all. I do full moon with like abundance, like what do I want to bring in, because the moon's at its fullest, its most abundant,
fullness,
most illuminated, yeah. And so like I want to bring that like power in like for myself. So 100%. Yeah, but some people like to do waning stuff.
Well, you can just wait to the waning. You got a lot of waning time. It's not like you're gonna, like,
yeah,
miss out on like the majority, like the last majority.
Like if I guess maybe they need to get rid of that shit and quick.
Exactly. You know? Like
I guess
the gun a little.
Yeah, yeah. You have weeks to work with the waning.
Exactly. What are you doing?
Oh man. Okay, so some keywords with the moon is intuition, fertility, feelings, emotions, water. As we know, the water is associated with like the tides and the ebbing and the flowing of the water. Cycles paired with that as well, menstrual cycles, as well as just kind of cycles of life, and also dreams.
Awesome.
All right, so element is water, heavily associated with water. The crystals are moonstone. That's what I like to use the best. I mean, I'll use other things too, but I do love moonstone. Labradorite, selenite, and satin spar, which I like for the moon as well, and amethyst. I like all of these for the moon, but moonstone and like satin spar is typically what I work with. Do you have a crystal that you associate very heavily with the moon?
A moonstone, of course.
Yeah,
definitely.
Okay, yeah.
And
then selenite as well.
You know what else I associate with the moon, which is weird? I have this beautiful like pearl, but it's not a round pearl. It's almost like a flat disc pearl that I have like set. And I I always associate that with a full moon. And I'm like, it's so watery too. It's like,
Pearl. Yeah, exactly what I was going to say. I totally get
Yeah,
Pearl.
Pearl's a good
Pearl.
one.
Wow. For me.
Yeah.
I want a little girl named Pearl. I want a granddaughter named Pearl. I love Pearl.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry.
That's such like a 50s name, I feel like.
It
Pearl. So colors are white, silver, and light blues mostly. And then anything that's kind of like shimmery also I associate with the moon. So metal is silver. It's associated with the fourth house. The sign is Cancer. Organs, specifically the left eye. I read the breast, ovaries, because again, like very nurturing, very feminine, pituitary gland, and menstrual cycle as well, which we have mentioned is heavily associated with that. And then realms of feelings and intuition and qualities are cool and moist. So quite a bit of deities. I'm sure that I did not get all of them, but this is the compiled list I found. So we have some from almost every like region. So we have some Incan mythology. Now I looked up how to say these and I'm still probably going to not do well. Mama Kila, and then Ka'atakila. I think Lakota is Hanmi. Chinese mythology is Changzi. Hinduism is Anumati. Korean is Mongol. Greek is Artemis, Hecate, and then Selene. Roman, Diana and Luna, and then Aztec is, you've talked about this before, I think, Coichiki?
I don't think I have Koyo. I don't know. There's no part of me that can pronounce that.
Yes.
I know. I feel like I'm doing these cultures a disservice by trying.
You know what? I don't know. Like sometimes when you go into like visit another culture, they give you props for trying. Yeah. So they they actually like it when you get to go. So
sometimes
our best.
That's true.
Honor.
Yeah. I have a very like English tongue. So here's our herb list. I'm not gonna read all of them, but I did put in this like orangey color, the ones that I associate the most with the moon: blue lotus, eucalyptus, mugwort, of course, and then sea salt. Those are kind of my go-tos. But all of these have been listed as herbs associated with the moon. Some of them, they wouldn't be my go-to for the moon, like ginger. I wouldn't necessarily be a go-to for the moon, but
and mine isn't in there.
Some associations.
The one that I'm gonna do isn't in there either, which is
that's true. Datura is not.
Oh.
I know, and Datura is called moonflower. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I think that probably most of the list that I found. So I did pull this from our herbal list. So Datura is not on my herbal list, so I'm going to add that. But a lot of them I'm guessing, but based on like what we see, might just be excluding a lot of the more baneful plants or poisonous plants. But yeah, Datura is a great one. Did forget that one.
That was so fun. I am so excited that we got to learn all about the moon and the properties of the moon. And let's just give Raven a hand for that one. We love the moon. Thank you, Raven. And we will see you at the next Ditch Witch Diaries.